Good afternoon, everybody. Hey, welcome to the Hounds of Business Presents Mike King Biz Radio on ESPN RVA 106.1 FM. You're with the Redneck Financial and Connector, Mike Asherbranner, and proud and humble leader of the Hounds of Business. Cannot wait to get to our guest today to interview this lady. She is a personal coach of mine. All right. Nobody better in the wheelhouse of Overwhelm than this lady. Cannot wait to get started. If you're listening to this on the radio, thank you for tuning in. Thank you, Mike King. We love rolling with Mike King Biz, always pushing up his community. He is one of a kind. Thank you, Mike King, for our partnership. And without further ado, let's roll that intro and let's get this party started.
Are you looking to grow your network and your net worth with other high-level, heart-centered professionals? Then grab a seat and your favorite beverage and join Mike Asherbranner, the Redneck Connector. It's time for the Hounds of Business Community Happy Hour.
All right, folks on the live stream are pouring in. Thank you, Hounds of Business, friends, supporters. Again, Mike King, your audience, love you guys. Go check out the Hounds of Business on YouTube and LinkedIn. And hey, connect with these amazing guests. So I won't read the whole bio, but this is a very special. I'm so excited about this show today because I have been really over the last several months, and I'll explain this and we'll talk about it. Really feeling just the challenges of unexpected leadership, growth, being in unknown territory, right? And it's not just business issues. Like we think we have a marketing problem or something like that, when oftentimes we have an internal problem, right? We have things that we're not facing and growth that we're not accomplishing that will help our business grow. And boy, I got a PhD in the School of Hard Knocks. So without further ado, let's bring her up if she's already up. Heidi Marke, welcome from the UK. How are you today?
I'm very well, thank you. Thank you for having me. It's lovely to see you.
Yeah, this is Accent Central, man. This show at 6:30, you should just tune in for the daggum accents, right? There's always international or even local, but we bring you the best of the folks that are in the hounds, around the hounds, and doing amazing things. So thank you so much. I'm gonna go ahead and try. All right, I had to fix some words, right? There's U's where they don't belong in your bio, right? So I will put them in. Heidi Marke is the gentle rebel coach. All right. She helps highly driven, big hearted professionals get their life back by gently, all right, and but firmly rebelling against the nonsense to have the life you work so hard for you to have to push through overwhelm and exhaustion. You don't. Right. And I'm going to stop there because you have your own story. I want you to tell the folks you had to push through, you have losses, you face this. You're not just read this stuff out of a book and become an overwhelm coach. You live this real time. Is that right?
Absolutely. Yeah. Embarrassingly, humiliatingly, completely imploded my life. And I didn't realize, I had no idea that overwhelm was actually like the gateway drug to wrecking your life. It's actually very serious, but I didn't know. How would you know? Everybody's overwhelmed, right? And we're told that it's just part of success. You want success, you got to push through overwhelm and exhaustion. Well, but how's that working out for you? Because my definition of success includes satisfying, well-paid work and the ability to switch off and go home and be present with those I love. And I got to a stage where I don't think I could even hear my partner speak. You know, my mind was so full. And yeah, it's not great to completely burn out and lose your financial stability, your confidence, your well-paid, satisfying career. It's rubbish, and I don't want anyone else ever to have to go through what I went through.
Is that what inspired you to start this? And then how does it differ from traditional, approaches to combating overwhelm?
Oh, it's very, very different. First of all, it's a unique solution. So for people, my people are very, well, I love them. So obviously to me, they're very special people. I work with people who are often in positions of leadership, but not always. They are always big-hearted, and
Mhm.
they want to keep what they've got. So they've worked really, really hard to have a life that should be brilliant. And if they look at their life, they have much of what they've worked hard for. They tend to have the home they always wanted, the family, the partner, the work. But they're starting to reach a stage where it's costing them so much just to hold all of that together. And what's the normal approach? Well, the normal approach is stress management. Well, I knew all the stress management stuff and none of it worked for me. It's just added to my overwhelm. It was another thing to fail because my self-care list was so long and so pressured. It was just another thing to fail, to sit on my shoulders. You ought to be doing more exercise. You ought to get more sleep. You ought to eat better. You should do this. You should do that. I was doing all of the things. You know, my degree is psychology. I've studied Zen, Buddhism and yoga, and I was doing all of the things. And I burnt out. I was also responsible for well-being in my organization, and I burnt out. How embarrassing is that? Well, it's not surprising, is it? Because I thought there was something wrong with me primarily. With the system, yes. With the working system, yes. But there's a limit to what you can do about the working system as one person. Your power lies in treating yourself better. So I thought I was a problem to be solved. So I spent years. I've done all of the things. You don't need to do them. And yeah, a lot of them work for a bit, right? But if you've got to keep getting up an hour early to meditate and you're already exhausted, that doesn't kind of work out very well. So yeah, it's just another. Go on.
No, there's a delay here, so I'm being ruder than normal. No, you said there's something wrong with me and I'm a problem to be solved. I think that's
Yeah.
why I loved your coaching. I'm so glad you took me on as a client. And I'm happy to tell people that. I mean, look, there's something that can help you get to the next level and drop your challenges and needless struggles. Why wouldn't you do it? Right? Remember that professionals have coaches, multiple coaches, and they graduate up and up and up. You know, amateurs do stuff by themselves. And I was an amateur for what, 40 years of life, right? So I want to encourage everybody out there, go out there and get somebody who has trained and lived it and overcome it and get through it as soon as possible. And burnout and overwhelm is a huge problem that you can't bury your head in the sand. And I felt that. Everything you said, I felt. And I know the people in the audience, I see the comments, the people on the audience and the radio. I don't care who you are. You have limits. And it's just really hard to see the forest from the trees. So I personally thank you for your expertise and guidance. Each week I look forward to it. It was absolutely, and it wasn't BS. Okay. No, everybody knows I don't do BS. It was absolutely hard work. It was like picking up a boulder and throwing it around for an hour mentally. It really was absolutely, you say gentle, but you have to dive into some stuff that we don't want to dive into. Right. So let me ask you this. You mentioned this before, right? Burned out despite self-care. So you were prioritizing self-care, but you burned out anyway. Right? I think that is very telling. So, what was missing in your approach then, and how has it shaped this current philosophy and style you have today?
I thought there was something wrong with me. And I thought if I could fix it. So I had this invisible, very heavy, get better at list. You know, if I could just get better at this next thing that I discovered that might solve my problem, everything would be all right. And often when it's to do with work, it's things like when that difficult person leaves, or when I get to the weekend, or when that project's done, where it's always this delay, you know, when this, then that. Or for me personally, when I fix this about myself, when I'm better in this way, then everything will magically fall into place. And now I know it's not that it's not true. It's not that things don't get better. It's that it's not dealing with the deep issue. And for me, the deep issue is I thought there was something wrong with me, that I needed to be tougher. And that's not wrong, because that's not right, because the problem with that approach is when you toughen up, that's not resilience. That's shutting down your heart, and living without connection to your heart is rubbish, because then you have to overuse your mind. And you tend to, in the process of overusing your mind, disconnect from the body. When you disconnect from the body, not only do you not have the wisdom of the body, which we all know how much wisdom there is, the gut reaction, the heart, and also basic things like thirst, right? When you're in the middle of a really difficult time, what do? you forget to respond to thirst, to hunger, to rest, for movement,
Yeah.
all of the things that help you focus. If you want to kick ass, if you want a really full life, you've got to look after yourself. Like, it's a non-negotiable. But we think it doesn't matter. We think, particularly as big-hearted people who don't want to let anyone else down, that if we push on through, we'll be fine. But it's not true. We will be fine temporarily, but this stuff's cumulative and you don't recover. If you're not recovering, if you get stuck in that cycle of when this, then that, it becomes permanent and you get stuck in this state. And I will argue that it is overwhelm that is stopping you finding the easier ways, because like you just said, your words were the same as mine. I couldn't see the wood for the trees. I literally couldn't see the wood for the trees. And I did hire a coach, but it didn't work. Why not? Because she wasn't specialized in what I needed. So what's happened now is I provide the solution that I needed 8 years ago. And it works, as you know.
And that's what's remarkable. It was me. I didn't set out to start the Hounds of Business. I just didn't have any friends and didn't know how to sell without being, pushy and annoying. And there it went. So we're in this uncharted territory. And I know I see so many people in the comments and just, it got to be on the radio. We face this. And so what I think is interesting and clarify this for us, you have to dive in. I personally, and I want your take on this. Oftentimes for me, it was personal responsibility, right? So things happen all day long, stuff outside of our control. And it doesn't mean it's okay. It doesn't mean it's just, but we have to accept it. For example, hey, if this thing's happening, what am I doing to allow it to happen, right? Like, I can stop things, I can distance, I can. So when you talk about the overwhelm is optional, dive in a little bit, because if it's real and it affects us, what do you mean by optional? Like, why do you believe that to be true?
Okay, because everybody tells you it's not optional. Everybody tells you it's compulsory. Like, you either quit the success, you give something up, you downsize your dreams, you give up the well-paid work, which probably threatens your home, or you have overwhelm. It's just like, that's the deal, right? Well,
Right.
that doesn't make any sense, because by definition, success cannot mean pushing my poor brain until it feels like concrete. That doesn't make any sense. That's not what I signed up for. That's not what I was promised. I was promised if I worked hard, I would have more freedom. I would have more, not less. And I just was feeling squished and squished and squished. So what I mean by overwhelm is optional is it's that gently rebellious take. I'm just turning around going, no, it's not compulsory, it's optional. And I also mean that it's a skill and a practice, and it's a remembering. And your natural state of being is not overwhelmed. Your natural state of being, when you allow the dust to settle just for a moment, is one of ease. And tapping into that natural sense of being, reconnecting to that, that's just a practice. I'm going to say it's no big deal. And I mean no big deal as in you can do it, because it takes moments. It's no big deal. It doesn't add to your pressure. It never add it to your self-care list. Just do it. And I have lots of practices for that, as you know. But it also means overwhelm is optional, as in, I don't think you ever eliminate it. Because the thing is with my people is we always want more. So then it's like, what's the next level? I've reached this level of freedom. I'm now maintaining my successful life without overwhelm most of the time. Sometimes I forget, sometimes I get caught up in it, but I remember and come back to that sense of groundedness, that sense of ease where I can think clearly and I can remember how to switch off and laugh and have fun. I can be present at home and really highly effective at work. I can have that more. And then what happens is we say, okay, so now I've done this, now I want more. And what tends to happen when we go for more is overwhelm hits. That's okay. And now we just up your practice. So it's a skill. So it's optional, as in it's going to appear, but it's not compulsory. And with skill and practice and commitment, you get a choice. You wake up in the morning, you notice the overwhelm, you get out of it before starting your day. It pops up during the day when, I don't know, somebody dumps all their stuff on you. You remember, oh, it's overwhelm, it's come back again. Let's do something about it. Let's get out of it, refocus before doing stuff. Whereas the opposite is, I will feel ease when I get through my to-do list. Really? Because when's your to-do list ever end? Like, I always say, there is no pot of ease at the end of your to-do list. That's the good news. There is no pot of ease at the end of your to-do list. That's the bad news. It's good news and bad news. Good news because You can have the ease before you start the to-do list. Bad news, you're never going to get the ease by pushing through it.
No,
Either way, it's good.
and done. Like I was like, when I'm done, when are you ever done? If you're building a business or you're leading an organization or something like that, or what, you're never done. Like you
You're
just
never
sometimes
done. Yeah,
never
ever.
done.
And why
No.
would you want to be done? Like, there's a whole world out there. Like, why would you want to be done?
Right. And look, let me get to the commercial part here because I think Mike King likes to take a break about halfway. So you are listening, all right, to Mike King Biz Radio, Hounds of Business Presents on ESPN RVA 106.1 FM. Boy, I did that well. Hey, Hounds of Business, heart-centered, high-level professionals, just like the great Heidi Marke here. Hey, check us out. Hounds of Business YouTube, LinkedIn, Carrier Pigeon, redneckfinancialcoach.com. You can find us everywhere. Hey, don't do it alone. Courage before confidence, guys. Hey, join a pack that can help you accelerate your business and your visibility. All right, and have fun doing it, dadgummit. That's the problem. Hairline falls out. All right, so back to you, Heidi. And I want people, I'm trying to paint a picture because I had the joy and the pleasure and privilege to really learn your coaching, right? You really mentored me and helped me. And I think when we hear like gentle rebellion or gentle rebel coach, it might be, but what is that? Is it, like I'm hugging babies, it conjures up all kind of weird things in my little country mind. But here's what I've experienced and elaborate. It helped guide me. you know, we have misconceptions. We have skewed views of things, right? We assume things are true and they may not be true, but our perception is reality. And you kind of, it's like walking through a forest, right? You kind of guided me to question certain things through that journey. And it's like swimming upstream when you just realize I could just lay down and float out of this thing, right? And so, what is your take? So, when somebody says, "Hey, how do you define gentle rebel?" Right? What are some key characteristics of this approach to life and work? What are some things that people could take away?
Well, firstly, obviously, gentle and rebel doesn't go together. And that's the point. I love a good oxymoron. So, rebellion, by definition, is usually fierce. It takes a lot of quite angry energy. And when I was trying to rebel in order to get my life back within all of the chaos and overwhelm before I burnt out, it was costing me to try and rebel. The fact that I was fed up with not having a life, with feeling crushed, that was costing me. Well, that's no good. If you're short on energy and headspace, you need the opposite. So we need a gentle rebellion. And also,
Right.
very importantly for my clients, they're private people. They don't want to display their stress publicly. What they want and need is a secret way to sort themselves out privately while holding everything together. Also, it's gentle, as in be on your own damn side. Seriously, be your own biggest cheerleader. Stop beating yourself up. It's gentle because it's the opposite of the energy that you use traditionally to hold success together to create success. And by doing the opposite, you break out of the trap.
Yeah.
And the word gentle then becomes the actual rebellion, but it's also firm, as you know, because it's definite. There's no messing around here. This is serious. This is your life. So gently but firmly start looking at things differently. So I might invite you, as I did you, to maybe put on some gently rebellious lenses and look at the world differently, to start questioning things. The first question would be, oh, but I'm stuck in overwhelm. I have to push through it. Do you? Have you ever tried a different approach? Let's just turn things upside down. So I'm a big fan, as you know, of turning things on its head, questioning things, looking at things in a gently rebellious way. A gentle rebel, by definition, is somebody who commits to themselves first, to living their life their way, which means finding what that means for them. Because as we were talking before we came on the show, it's got to be your way. It's got to be your way, right? There isn't one way,
Yeah.
there's your way. And the way that works for you, that's what we're looking for.
That's what I mean. It's not cookie cutter, just academia. This was tailored for me, and that's what I needed. First of all, you have a book, and I'm going to encourage everyone to get this book. I just looked it up. It says it's free on Amazon, so I would go ahead and get it now, right before somebody changes that. And it's called "Overwhelm is Optional" by Heidi, right, Mark. Marke. And this is your gateway. Here's the thing that I'm most proud of. I pulled my head out of the sand and had the courage to go get help. We're too tough or too busy, or I got this. Really? Really? I mean, what's more, I guess from my perspective, like what's more grown up, professional, and effective or manly, right? Kicking a stray cat on your way home and being mean to people around you or dealing with your stuff. And you have really helped guide me um, to a place that I never thought and probably I would never get to all alone. I mean, sometimes it takes some help to get there, right? So I just wanted to say thank you for that. And I want to encourage everybody to get the book on Amazon. Overwhelm is optional. Heidi Mark. Start there. And there's, like I said, QR codes. There's all kind of things. What's your website? I want to make sure before we end in a few minutes.
It's
What's the website?
heidimark.co.uk. Heidimark.co. If you search Overwhelm Heidi Mark, you're going to get me. Also, I have a podcast. That's the absolute best way of absorbing stuff. I love a podcast because you can just, go for a walk, be doing other
Yeah.
stuff.
If you could, I want everybody. I really, because there's so many people dealing with this, and it's like grass. There's coaches everywhere, and there's lots of good coaches. But they didn't coach me. So you did. So if you would share a success story of a client that really successfully implemented the gentle rebellion. All right, and what's the key
Oh my
factors
goodness,
that transformed? Yeah, go ahead.
so many, at this
Yeah,
stage. First of all, I want to say that it doesn't end. Like our time together has ended, and I can see your transformation and your confidence and your big smile as you really step into that leadership role, embodying that
right,
successful leader. But there's always more. So what it becomes is you're always in control of it. This isn't you do this and you're fixed, because there's nothing wrong with you. And it's
right,
that gentle rebellion that becomes your own. So you're moving from what I call head-based living, where you're stuck in your mind, overusing your mind, to mind, heart, body living, where you're supporting the mind so that you have a strong mind, a fit body. And by that, I mean, you're looking after yourself. You're listening to what your body needs. You're taking it seriously. And then a courageous heart. A lot of this is about the heart, which is obviously, as you know, the Hounds of Business leader, you are heart-centered, but being able to trust the heart, connect to the heart, and use all of everything, starting to use all your wisdom. Now, and ultimately, this becomes about finding the freedom to be more and more yourself, to creating a life you feel at home in, to feeling at home in yourself, to knowing who you are uniquely, sharing your gifts with the world, and finding the freedom, making that the greatest adventure. So there's no finish point. It just gets better and better. You just spiral up into more and more freedom to be yourself, more joy, more peace of mind, and more kicking ass on your goals. But if we just
right.
narrow it down from the macro big picture into the tiny picture, I'm trying to just pick one person. There's so many people. We could talk about you if you like. It's just the whole going. In general, it's the going from scattered attention. So your attention is scattered through time and space. So if you think about on a smaller level, each time we had a session, what did we start with? Just bringing that attention back to you, getting clear on where you are and what you want and what you're up to. So if at the moment you tend to wake up in the morning and your attention scattered through time and space, as you gently rebel, you start to get a grip on that, notice that, and pull your attention back to you, and start with the morning promise. I commit to myself first, to living my life my way, to living without overwhelm, to living with more joy, more peace, more health, more energy, and a fuller life, but in a gently rebellious way. Resist,
Absolutely.
resist the overwhelm. It's a nonsense. It's not
Oh,
compulsory. You get a choice.
thank you. Thank you for that. Again, yeah, I'm a recovering thinkaholic. Like it's rampant,
Yeah.
and a lot of high driven leaders and people ambitious creators, we have that issue. And it can be a superpower, but it can be a curse if you don't learn how to temper it and work through it. And it's that mind heart connection that really,
Yeah.
knowing the
Support
discernment,
the
knowing.
mind. Yeah. Yeah. Support the mind. Go for a strong mind.
Exactly. And that's what I mean. Life's not happening to us. We can. There's a lot we can't control. Most things, heck, we can't control. Uh, but what we can control, we underestimate. And once we get our wraps around who we are, who we want to be, we understand ourselves better. Man, things start to turn around. So thank you for that. And by the way, it was April said I had a radiant smile, and I think Chasen maybe said that. So these are mine. These are my teeth. It came up this today. I don't put them in a jar. They're mine. I'm proud of them. All right. So yeah, we have fun here. So last thing, all right, where can folks find more about you? We tell them about the website. Get the book. All right, tell them about the book, and it's still showing 0, so you better get it. Uh, where do
I think
folks
it's
find
only
you? And we
0
can.
on Kindle Unlimited, but it's not expensive. So that's the book. Overwhelm is optional. Podcast Overwhelm is optional in all the places you can find podcasts. YouTube, a little bit on YouTube, and my website heidimarke.co.uk. Lots of lovely free things for you. And if you want to come work with me, or you want to talk about coming to work with me, just book a chat. Always happy to talk to you.
Yeah, I highly recommend that. If you're hitting next level, you feel stuck, you can't get over that hump, look, get the book. Do you have your that little online training thing that I had the other day? Is that available on the website?
The Overwhelm to Ease course. Yeah. It's on
Yeah.
discount at the moment. It's at the top. Just go to the website, click on the banner at the top, and get 70% off.
Oh my goodness. Well, we gotta go. I hate this. I could talk for 100 hours, but we only got 30 minutes. So everybody go to Heidi Marke. All right. So Heidi Marke with an E at the end, .co.uk. All right. International. She works with anybody, top level folks that are serious about getting over the overwhelm and getting back to happy. And really, it's about leaving a legacy. All right. The impact that we can make. And I would not be surrounded by amazing people in the comments, chat, in the pack, outside of the pack, friends, if I wasn't. We're only going to grow to the level that we're willing to grow. Our business won't grow until we end up growing with that thing. So thank you for helping me grow, Heidi. You're amazing. Thank you for everyone in the comments, all the listeners out there. Hey, again, shameless plug, but dadgummit, well deserved. Plug into a heart centered, high level pack, Hounds of Business. Don't do it alone. All right. There's a million reasons that you can't, but I'm going to challenge you to give one reason you can. All right. Plug it in, give it a shot. Hey, failure, that's obsolete. All right. With failure, hey, it's just figuring out new ways to get stuff done. Plug into these professionals. It says it all. Thank you, Heidi, so much. And thank you to our producer back here, Sindal. Get her done. All right. Sindal done. We appreciate you pushing the button so I don't have to, even though I do anyway. So we'll see you guys next week. We got a special guest next week. I'm not going to unveil it. And thank you so much for tuning in. Appreciate you, Mike King. You're the man. Hey, keep pushing up that community. Thank you for your partnership. Love rolling with Mike King Biz. Everybody, we'll see you back next Friday. Have a good day. Roll that outro. We got time. Thank y'all for stopping by. Be sure to follow, share, and like, and send me a message if you had fun today. Y'all come back now.